WKWP Channel 4. I'm Tyler Kraus.
And I'm Jason Valderrama with a special report on the Russo-Japanese War.
Today in national news, Russia and NATO reached a breakthrough agreement on May 14, 1997, calling for a new era of cooperation between the former arch-enemies. This historic accord, which was formally ratified by Russia and NATO's 16 member nations, appeared to clear the way for NATO's expansion into Central and Eastern Europe. In July 1997, NATO is expected to invite the Czech Republic, Hungary, and Poland to become NATO members.
In Japan's national news, one of Japan's most prominent hemophilia experts was charged on September 18, 1996, with negligence for giving tainted blood to a patient who later died from acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS. Abe Takeshi's predicament was the first in a widening scandal involving Japan's medical authorities and drug companies. A former professor and vice president of Tokyo University in Tokyo, Abe was charged in connection with the death of a hemophiliac treated with unheated blood clotting products in 1985. Prosecutors alleged that he knew the blood might have been tainted with human immune deficiency virus, HIV, which causes AIDS. Abe, 80, faces a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison if convicted. Our first state news story deals with the Columbine incident. During this incident, there were many warnings that were ignored. Police received complaints about Harris's website, violent website, that contained many threats against other students. These two students had plotted this incident for at least 1 year. They had planned this for 1 year and originally wanted this to be on the 19th instead of the 20th of April. It was found out there was no backup plan for these two students. The SWAT teams also showed up too late and the incident was not ended soon enough. Finally, it is also known that they were equal partners. That concludes the story for our Columbine incident.
Elsewhere in Colorado, hackers broke into many servers and sent unwanted messages to several computers all over the state. Servers like Yahoo, eBay, Amazon.com, and E-Trade were all affected. Yahoo was immobilized for over 3 hours, and eBay's auction house was down for 7 more hours. Amazon.com cut off over 380 customers because of the attack and was down for several hours as well. Attorney General Janet Reno vowed to catch the hackers, but they left few clues and the attacks could get worse. Today for the local news, we have brought you Eaton's weekend forecast. For Friday night, there's a low of 28 degrees and a high of 30 degrees. There's a cold front moving in from the west with colder temperatures on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, the low is expected to be 31 degrees with a high of 58 degrees, partly cloudy and a chance of showers. The night will be low of 27 degrees and a high of 30 degrees, a little bit cooler. On Sunday, there's a low of 19 degrees and a high of 43 degrees, mostly cloudy with a chance of snow, and the roads may be a little slicker. Sunday night, there's a low of 15 and an expected high of 25 degrees in Eaton, and that's the weather forecast. Now to Jay.
In other local news, have you seen those speed regulation boxes placed around Eaton? Usually there's a cop stationed close around those. What these regulation boxes do is monitor your speed to let you know if you're going too fast or too slow. The most recent sighting was the one on 35th on Highway 35. Other places that they've been spotted are on Cherry Avenue and on Walnut Avenue. So when you're driving around, be sure to watch out for these because they'll help you and they can also hurt you. In school news, we have an upcoming chess tournament. This is going to be a double elimination tournament played during Access with sponsors Mr. Bergen and Mrs. Vanderheiden. The dates of the games are April 11th and 13th. So far, this looks to be a fun and interesting event for those who enjoy chess.
In other news, the students at Eaton High School put on a mock accident. This mock accident was staged in the football field at Eaton High School. The students, with the help of the Eaton Police and Fire Departments, made a simulation of an accident caused by drunk driving. They went through all the normal procedures of an accident, with the firefighters and the policemen checking the victims. They brought in a Flight for Life to make it seem more realistic. This was a good display of safety to show kids the dangers of drinking and driving, especially at a time right before prom. The students acted as victims as well as firefighters and policemen on the stage. This was a good display at this time of year to show the dangers of drinking and driving, and it was really appreciated by all the students at Eaton. What's this? What's this? We just have uncovered some actual footage of the Russo-Japanese War. It's a short clip, but we're going to go to it now.
Oh shit!
For our tutorial, I will do a story on the surprise attacks that Japan did on Russia during the Russo-Japanese War. This was when Japan attacked Port Arthur in 1904. This series of quick victories resulted in the fall of this Russian fort. The principle of this has been assumed to be wrong, but I feel differently. I believe that this is perfectly fine. There is no need to warn someone of an attack to come. This type of surprise attack is not morally wrong. Hey, Boris, look at this picture of Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, isn't that great?
We're on.
Oh, okay. For our interview, I'm sitting here with Boris Yeltsin. We're going to do an interview with him. Boris, do you feel that the outcome of the Russo-Japanese war affects your country presently?
Yes, I believe so. We lost.
How else does it affect you?
It affects us because we don't have the power that we were trying to gain in China with railroads and stuff like that.
Interesting. Do you think the war turned out the way it should have?
No, we lost.
How? Is there anything that you would have done differently if you were there?
I would have won.
How would you have won?
I don't know.
Have there been any conflicts between these two countries since the war?
No, that's not.
Last but not least, I have to ask you, who do you think looks better in this? Jennifer or Christina?
Gotta go with Jennifer all the way.
That'll make worse.
This is WKWP Channel 4. I'm Tyler Krause signing off.
And I'm Jason Valderrama. Have a good night.
Dang, that's the biggest thing I've ever saw. Damn, that's a loss. Hey, do you think I could try that on?
Yeah, I guess so. Corey and Casey studying for the 5 Ps test? That's not natural. Real oak furniture from Oak Express. Now that's natural. And today only, library furniture is on sale.
Finally, the U.S. has an obligation to help the Albanians. Now to our footage.
News reporter Lisa Lee joins us now from the Pentagon. Lisa?
Ernie, there are reports tonight out of Yugoslavia of intensified fighting between Serb forces and the Kosovar Liberation Army. As many as 150 rebels were reported killed at the Albanian border. But that rebel fighting is being augmented by NATO bombs, which again are pounding away at the heartbeat of the Serb military. For the 20th straight night, NATO bombs are once again falling over Yugoslavia. Serb anti-aircraft missiles and explosions lit up the sky. Earlier today, a horrific scene in Yugoslavia. The wreckage of a passenger train apparently hit last night by a NATO bomb. Serb officials say at least 10 people aboard were killed. Military officials expressed regret for the incident. The bomb was intended to destroy a bridge. It appears to be a tragic case of bad timing.
We do everything we can, as you know, to avoid any collateral damage, plan for the minimum collateral damage, and this is not risk-free.
Tonight at a White House event, President Clinton stressed that the U.S. has an obligation to help the oppressed ethnic Albanians.
But we cannot be indifferent to the fact that the Serbian leader has defined destiny as a license to kill.
The Pentagon showed video clips from some of its many successful strikes. Here, laser-guided bombs from an F-16 take out an airfield. Another hits army barracks in southwest Kosovo. NATO says these strikes are finally beginning to negatively affect the Serbian military.
Let me say that our operations are taking a heavy toll of President Milosevic's army and security forces.
The big question from here, can Milosevic be stopped using air power alone? The administration has thus far said yes and has refused to commit to ground troops. But emerging from a meeting with the president, congressional leaders warned against ruling it out.
I don't think we should preclude anything at this point, but at this time, the president has indicated, and I believe that the intent is to go forward with the air campaign that's underway.
Now, tomorrow, additional members of Congress will be meeting with the president and his national security team to discuss the crisis in Kosovo. If at some point NATO should decide to send in ground troops, today Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott said there should first be an official declaration of war by Congress. Reporting live from the Pentagon, I'm Lisa Lee, WB2 News. Back to you, Ernie.
All right, Lisa, thank you very much. So, who do you think is winning the war in Kosovo? 30% of Americans say NATO is. Now, about 15% say Yugoslav president is. 29% say Milosevic has already won. Now, what about NATO's refusal of that ceasefire offer? 64% support it. And why is Milosevic offering to allow refugees to return home? 85% say it is just a military strategy.
Our sixth and final story is what will be needed in the future plan of action. Now to our footage.
We will continue to work together to attain a common basis for the resolution of this crisis.
The pictures show the destruction, and NATO calls the bombing of a passenger train in Yugoslavia an uncanny accident, one that claimed civilian lives. Using cockpit video, NATO says the mission was to take out the bridge, and it regrets the mistake.
All of a sudden, at the very last instant, with less than a second to go, he caught a flash of movement that came into the screen, and it was the train coming in. And unfortunately, he couldn't dump the bomb at that point.
President Clinton says the air war can achieve NATO's goals in Kosovo, and more aircraft will soon head for the region. He also says there is bipartisan support for the air campaign. U.S. officials sent a stern warning to Belgrade today after Serb troops briefly crossed into Albania, seizing control of villages in the north. Albanian officials say the situation there is now under control, that the Serb forces have pulled back to the other side of the border. Mac Lee, NBC News, Washington.
And pictures of maps of Kosovo. Starting out here is a picture of Kosovo related to the world. Next is a flag of Yugoslavia and Kosovo. Down one more is a picture of farming land in Kosovo. Finally, there's a picture of Kosovo related to the United States, size-wise. In the big map, Here's Kosovo in the bottom of Yugoslavia. It has the borders with Albania, Macedonia, and Montenegro. Thank you and good night.